This program contains adult content.
Is there a God?
Big atheist.
Really?
What, am I an idiot? Come on.
That yes, it would be nice if you could throw your sins and your responsibilities on someone else. But it's not true.
It looks like far-left lunacy.
I don't believe that it's true that religion is moral or ethical.
You don't need to follow anybody!
It's not human intelligence!
If someone doesn't value logical consistency, what logical argument are you going to give them that will demonstrate that they should?
Hello and welcome to the Godless Rebelution. Today is Wednesday, March 9th. This is episode 372. My name is Dan Ellis, and I'm joined by two awesome co-hosts, Mr. Ryan Duffy.
That would be this one.
I tried to enunciate your name a little bit more today. Usually it's just Ron Duffy, and so everybody thinks your name is Ron.
Oh, fuck. Ron Burgundy isn't a bad guy.
And Mr. Taylor Grin, how are you doing, sir?
I've got a cat.
So you're doing perfectly.
Oh.
You are perfect.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right about meow, everything is perfect. Sir. It's been a long day and week. What is new with you guys? Let's start with you, Taylor.
So I've started going to physical therapy, for my back.
Nice.
X-ray is kind of inconclusive. Going to be doing an MRI. Doc thinks it's probably like a slipped or herniated disc or something like that. But she also thinks that like I'll be able to heal from it more or less just because of how discs work. So I've got a pretty good routine that I'm doing now for that. Pain's getting less every day, which is nice.
Well, yeah, you said before we started the show that the old conventional thinking of, you know, if your disc gets damaged or whatever, you're fucked and you need surgery and all that, but that's not accurate.
No, I mean, like most things in the human body, it'll regenerate itself. Pretty much the only stuff that doesn't regenerate itself in the human body is like ligaments. And to a lesser degree tendons. Yeah. And there is like a kind of buttressing ligament that's adjacent to the L2 or L3 vertebra, disc that's probably ruptured for me. That's probably weakened from my previous injuries. That's like acts as like a retaining wall. And I can't really heal or treat that, but if I improve my flexibility and literally get my butt back in shape. I've got like a Hank Hill ass going on right now. And that's contributing to the problem because having a lack of like gluteus muscle is contributing to like an overburdening of my lower back and legs. So I need to find like a 1980s Buns of Steel video cassette and
the old Jane Fonda workout.
That. Yeah. Yep. Get myself some turquoise tights and ankle weights and stuff. Do a side ponytail.
Some leg warmers and stirrups.
Yeah. That's what I was missing.
Nice. Well, that sounds fun. I'm glad that it is feeling a little better and you're at least on the road to being mended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm walking unassisted again, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-ambulatory without assistance.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, good. I'm glad to hear all that. And you have a cat and everything is peachy.
I do. Yeah. The big one's been really aggressive towards the little one today and, nobody else is in the house. So I needed to keep one of them in the room with me, and kitten's less likely to destroy something in my presence than in the entire rest of the house. So if you hear any meows this episode, that's him trying to escape.
So Avocado's being a bit of a bully. That's unfortunate.
He is. Yeah, he had a really bad experience when we were watching this guy's house, and he had 3 cats. And at the time, all of those cats were older than him and would bully him until he figured out that he was twice their weight. And then
hey, wait a minute.
That ceased. Yeah, and then he started attacking them back. And I think now he's just mistrustful of other cats. And we're slowly introducing the 2 of them, but I think the biggest thing is just that the kitten has kitten energy and Avocado sleeps 18 hours a day energy. And he doesn't like being interrupted. So
yeah. It's the fuck off energy.
Yeah.
Well, fun. Well, what's new with you, Mr. Duffy?
Well, I guess You asked me a question. That's when I got a cough. Motherfucker.
You're welcome. Sorry. It's all my fault.
I mean, life has gotten a little better.
Yeah.
We're able to work at work now.
Yeah.
It's good.
Which is, we're kind of got to the point where it's like, wow, I can't believe how happy I am to be training more.
So that you're not just siloed in your room.
Our COVID restrictions are pretty much been lifted. So we can train as full department now, and we can actually go do stuff. We can, leave the station as a whole crew and go out and break shit.
Nice.
So that's good. It's better for the brain. Better to not be all like, I don't want to go to work because I have to sit in a room for fucking 3 days. Basically, I mean, it's almost like for the last 2 years, we've been on like a jail sentence.
Yeah.
Go in for your 3-day lockup.
Couple of your coworkers working on their manifesto while they're trapped in their room.
I won't doubt it. I just hope that now that everything's over with or getting back to normal, they don't enact their manifesto.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything's good there. Otherwise at home, pretty much same old.
Awesome.
Trying to think of stuff to make. I got one project from Taylor, so I got that brewing.
Well, and Sarah burned a pan, and I saw that.
Yeah. I told her I came upstairs and I saw it on the stove. I'm like, "What you cooking? It looks like water." It's like, "Oh, just cleaning the cast iron." I'm like, "Well, that's a weird way to clean it." I'm like, "What? Do you want me to turn it off?" She's like, "No, I'm just gonna put some baking soda in it." I'm like, "Well, you want me to put the baking soda in it?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, "You want me to turn the heat off?" She's like, "No, just leave it on for a little bit. I'll be right out there." And like,
5 hours later.
And like 30 minutes later, I walk up, maybe like 40 minutes later, I walk upstairs and I could smell it coming up the stairs. And I'm like, and I just see her standing by the stove and see a pan that's all white inside. I'm like, "You forgot to turn the heat off, didn't you?" She's like, "Yeah."
Oops. Damn it. Oh no.
Saw that coming.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to recondition the cast iron skillet now. So I mean, that's,
which is a pain in the ass.
I mean, she's the one that uses it all the time, so she gets to deal with it.
Yeah.
I try to make fried chicken every like month or two because that peanut oil at like 375 just fixes that shit up right quick.
Seasons it very nicely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I just busy with work. Nobody wants to hear about that bullshit. Fuck it. I'm just very tired of being very tired and overworked. But I did get to go see, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson on Monday.
Oh yeah.
How'd that go?
That was fun. Yeah. Everybody you had to show proof of immunization, upon entrance to the Eccles Theater. And then everybody had to wear a mask throughout the entire thing while you were there. So that was good. And it was kind of fun. Like, he put up a slide that showed like all of the different topics that he can present a talk on, or that he feels qualified for, that he's prepared talks for. And the one that he gave to us this time, this is the third time that Tracy and I have gone to see him live. And the talk that he gave this time was on weird or bizarre things about the universe, or just like strange, mind-blowing things about the universe and the creations in the universe. And, but throughout his talk, he would just pepper in little digs at like right-wingers and Republicans and Donald Trump and anti-vax people and anti-mask people. And I loved every fucking time he did it because it was awesome. And you could see, like, it was interesting because you could see people in the crowd, a few people react negatively whenever he would say something like that. And it's like, do you not know who you came to see? Like, his views on things, that he is, well, and you know, he let his atheist flag fly. I know that he doesn't use the term atheist to describe himself, but he made some disparaging remarks about religion in general a few different times. And, you know, there were a couple groans and eye rolls and people tossing their head back, whatever. But, you know, Tracy and I were loudly applauding and having a very good time during all of it. But But yeah, it was fun. He's always entertaining. I always like to go see him speak. And then while we were there toward the end of his presentation or talk or show, whatever you want to call it, he said, I've been thinking about something for a while, and I'm just gonna, so let me stop this presentation. And he's got his laptop up there. He's like, let me stop this, and I've been thinking about this. I'm going to tweet this out live while we're sitting here. And he zooms in on his Twitter account, and he says, so, all right, here we go. And he had obviously typed it out before because he just copied and pasted into his tweet window and sent out his tweet. And he's like, okay, now this is going to go out to 14.5 million people right now. And he tweeted this thing. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. It's something like, what scientists know about our universe is mind blowing, and what the public thinks we don't know about our universe is shocking,
mind blowing,
something
or like terrifying or something.
Yeah, something like that. I should have brought up the tweet before I started talking about it.
Jesus
but
Christ. I saw the tweet.
Yeah. It was just kind of cool that, like, he did it while we were sitting there in the audience, and then you could see the ticker start counting up. Like, within 30 seconds, there were already like 15 retweets and quotes and comments and likes, and he's like, and now we're off to the races. And somebody
it's what scientists know about the world is mind blowing. What the public think scientists don't know about the world is alarming.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody in the crowd shouted out, like, well, let's see the responses. And so he's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, sure. And then somebody else in the crowd shouted, think of the children. And he's like, oh, yeah, maybe not. It kind of turns into a cesspool sometimes. So yeah, maybe we won't look at the responses. It was just kind of fun. But yeah, it was a good time. And, we drove the new car to dinner beforehand, and I had my favorite chili verde smothered burritos before the show. And then we went to the show, drove the car, got there. It was just awesome, and drove home in the new car. And, yeah, but it was a school night, and we didn't get home until like 10:30.
Oh,
and of course then we hadn't fed the dogs, so we've got to feed them, and then we've got to sit for a little while so that they can work off some of their energy from being in their cages while we were gone. And so then I didn't get to bed until like 1 on a school night.
Jesus Christ.
I had to work the next day. So I was
rebel.
I was tired Tuesday. And then the weather has been shit, so I didn't get to go golfing. And then I've just been working a ton, editing the show, putting that out. I still have another one to edit while we're recording this one. I'm trying to get caught up. That one I think should be available very soon. And then this one, I'm trying to get back on track to where the episode that we recorded prior to the recording that we're doing at the time is available to people. Rather than being a couple episodes behind. So I apologize, everybody. I'm just really busy, and that's the way it is.
Could just confuse people.
Yeah, that's just the way it's going to be for a little while, unfortunately. I'm trying to get caught up, and we'll see how that goes. But we have things to talk about because the world doesn't stop. Everybody's busy. Everybody's scared and in danger, and there's also some good news every now and then. We'll tell you some of those things and good things also when we get back from this little break.
This is Shalice Blythe with the Satanic Temple and the National Director of the After School Satan Club. For more information on how you can start a club in your area, visit afterschoolsatan.com. You are listening to the Godless Rebelution.
I feel like I'm wasting my life at meetings like this. That's absolutely what's happening. But if it makes you feel any better, there's no way not to waste your life. The best you can do is find something you love and work so hard and so long at it that it eventually becomes something you mostly complain about.
Thank you to everybody who has rated the show on iTunes and Stitcher and are following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And to all our Patreon patrons, you make the show possible.
Ryan?
Dan?
I hope that you will not use the G word going forward.
Gay, 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 gay. I said it, Dan.
Oh.
I said gay.
Oh.
Gay, 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 trans, gay, trans, gay, trans, gay, trans, gay, trans. Lock me up, Florida.
Oh, Ryan, you have no idea how many pearls were clutched.
I know.
Throughout the state of Florida.
Ron DeSantis, I said that with a mask on. You fucking twat.
That fucking guy, he's trying to run to the right of Donald Trump while being smarter than Trump somehow. Like I can't decide if he's just an evil bastard. I've decided he's an evil bastard. That's who Ron DeSantis is. He's an evil fucking bastard. Power hungry, evil fucking fascist bastard. That's Ron DeSantis. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
doesn't give a fuck about his constituents or the people in his state other than to allow them to provide him with more power. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone's been hearing about this bill, but the reason why we talk about it today is because today it passed.
Gross.
And it's headed to Mr. Ron DeSantis' desk for final signature. Well, this article says or veto. We know he isn't going to fucking veto it.
Yeah.
This is pretty much going to be a bill that's going to be enacted in Florida.
So what is this? What does it do?
Well, I mean, it's basically, it's illegal to talk about being gay or being trans to children.
Why?
And
why do they want to do that? Why do they want to limit the education that our children receive? Why do they want to make sure that our children are as fucking stupid as they are?
Well, everyone knows if you find out that gay people exist, then, you know, the gay agenda turns them gay.
Yeah.
Once you know that
chemtrails and the fluoride.
Once you know that it's okay to be gay or trans, then, you know, you might decide that it's okay to be trans or gay. Like what? I don't understand how they figure that this makes fucking sense for anybody.
And well, the thing that doesn't make sense to me. So if you're talking about this in school, in class, and you're being educated on, it's probably going to be in a health class.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't going to come up in social studies. Probably not very much. It's not really going to be part of your history class unless you get to that part of our history of, you know,
Alan Turing.
Yeah, Alan Turing. Well, they're not going to mention that he was gay because he was a good American that we castrated and basically made commit suicide afterwards.
Right.
But let's not forget that they also passed the anti-woke bill.
What is the anti-woke bill?
It's basically another one like this where it's like it has to do with how we're teaching our kids in school. So when it comes
can't
to
teach kids that, you know, Christopher Columbus kept slaves or the founding fathers did so, or, you know, things about how many police forces originated as basically runaway slave recapturing teams and
anything that they could perceive as being part of the critical race theory is part of the anti-woke bill. And of course they get critical race theory completely fucking wrong. So you pretty much don't talk about racism. Don't talk about any of that part of our past because we're such a great American country. Gays never existed. Trans people never existed. And if you are gay or trans, don't fucking talk about it. Because parents have a right in education. It's kind of like here in Utah where they said, we can't teach anything but, we can't teach about condoms and contraception and all that kind of stuff. That's the parents' job. Florida's basically going, we can't talk about any of this in school. It's the parents' job to educate their kids on people that they know nothing about.
If it's the parents' job to educate their kids on a wide variety of issues, then put your kids in fucking homeschool.
I mean, which is what Betsy DeVos wanted to have. Like, she wanted to eliminate public school entirely.
Yeah, but that's just, I mean, this is all part of an effort to discredit and denigrate public schools. And we see teachers leaving in droves because they don't want to have to fucking put up with this kind of fucking bullshit. They're being treated like they're just paid babysitters at this fucking point. They're not there to educate our kids. They're not there to teach them anything. It's your job is to watch my child while I go off and do my ever so important job of being a fucking trucker or doing whatever that I'm going to do for my job so that I can keep a roof over my head, but I don't want to have to watch my own fucking kid or have to explain shit to them, and I don't want you explaining shit to them that I don't fucking agree with, so you need to just stop that. Just shut up and do your job of being a fucking babysitter for my kid.
Pretty much. And according...
And I wouldn't even go that far. Like at least one of our listeners is a trucker, and like in the Canadian shit, 90% of truckers were vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's the wild thing is that these guys aren't even as blue collar as they say they are, right? Most of the people who showed up at January 6th were like business owners or entrepreneurs and that kind of thing, like upper middle class folks. Were a lot of the folks that went to January 6th.
Yeah, well, and they're a minority. Like, it's a minority of people who believe these things and want these things to happen, but they're fucking loud. It's that squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing. They're in the minority, but the majority isn't speaking up more loudly and saying, shut the fuck up, you little racist dickheads. Racist, bigoted, anti-trans, anti-gay, religious bigots. Shut the fuck up. The rest of us would like to have a peaceful society here.
Yeah. Like even in this article,
trans people.
Yeah.
There's the Public Opinion Research Lab. It's in University of North Florida. 49% of Floridians opposed the legislation, while only 40% supported it. So according to that poll, a majority of people in Florida, or at least a majority I bet the 49 to 40, there's got to be some 1% or more than 1%. A lot of people probably said don't care, but it's in the majority for, we don't want this.
Yeah.
So it's that minority of bigoted fucking assholes, which in Florida, that minority is almost equal to half, which is sad.
But wait, there's more. I follow Andrew Seidel on Twitter, and he's been posting a lot about laws that have been proposed in Idaho. They are proposing a bill that would not only make trans-affirming surgeries and other procedures a felony, but would also make it a felony to leave the state to provide a gender-affirming surgery or procedure for a minor, which is like that's unheard of in our legal fiction, to try and make something a crime if you leave the state's jurisdiction to go do it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it riding on top of legislation that already exists to ban female genital mutilation, and they're radically misunderstanding things like puberty blockers and other procedures like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting that they specifically mention that they don't want to that they don't want to allow the quote unquote mutilation of genitalia, but they only include female genitalia in here because, circumcising little boys and cutting off their foreskin is perfectly fine because that's what Jesus wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'll throw this in here too. If you're interested in anything coming to your state, go to aclu.org. They have a whole section on legislation affecting LGBTQ rights across the country, and it's updated weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually track all the bills right there.
Yeah. Well, and
it's sad how many there are.
And we see this shit. Yeah, I was going to say, we see this shit spreading all over the place. Hemant Mehta posted an article today that was shared out through American Atheists on their Facebook page. The Catholic lawmaker who is seeking to block women from leaving Missouri to have an abortion. This is Missouri State Representative Mary Elizabeth Coleman wants to put a stop to people leaving the state to have abortions legally in a different state. She wants to make it so that if your permanent residence is in Missouri and you leave the state to have an abortion, if you come back, they can charge you with a felony.
Right. And this is all Project Blitz stuff. Like when we have done our episodes in the past on Christian nationalism, the fact that these bills have similar language shows you that this is part of the concerted effort by Christian nationalists to turn America into a theocracy. And if you think it doesn't affect you, wait until they go after contraceptives.
Yeah.
Right. Wait until they start establishing religious tests for office.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's a whole section here. I'm trying to remember which state it was. I don't remember right now. But like with RFRA laws, religious exemption bills, to say you're trans, I don't have to serve you.
Yeah.
Like,
and even scarier, there's a law that was attempted. I can't quite recall if it was passed or not. There was an attempt to deputize security teams at mega churches in Alabama, basically giving like religions that were large enough and had enough money to afford it, their own private police force.
I think that was last
the force
year.
Of law behind them.
Yeah, that was last year, the year before, and I cannot remember whatever came of that. If that got approved or not. But I remember that bill when it was coming up. I remember we talked about it on the show, but I never followed up on that one.
They're undermining the idea of the rule of law by trying to create carve-outs so that the law does not apply to them.
Yeah.
And one of the quotes I throw around on the show quite a bit is, the heart of conservatism is to create an in-group for whom the law protects and does not bind, and an out-group for whom the law binds but does not protect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Like even just looking at like religious exemptions for adoption and foster care. There's a bill in Arizona, Iowa, Indiana, Kansas, South Carolina, and West Virginia to block them from being able to adopt.
You need to vote. I understand that things are demotivating. I understand that Congress being 50-50 has made it so that, bills that we would like to have gone through are not going through. The solution to that is not sitting it out. The solution to that is voting for more Democrats in office, which means the power of Kirsten Cinemas and Joe Manchin's will be further diluted. Mm-hmm. If we can get 2 more Democrats, real ass Democrats in office, then we don't have to worry as much about them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show up.
Yeah. And that's the most worrying thing about all of this is that I see that because most people don't pay attention to politics as much as we do, right? Or as much as a lot of other people do. They live their lives. They've got work. They've got family obligations. They've got church, whatever other social obligations that they have. They don't pay attention to politics until it affects them personally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think we're going to end this segment out by just pointing out the fact that right now in Guatemala, on the day of like recognizing women,
International Women's Day.
Laws,
yeah.
They made their abortion laws more restrictive. It used to be 3 years in jail if you got an abortion, which could be a miscarriage could be considered an abortion. You were in jail for 3 years. Now it's 10 to 25 years in jail. And attached to this bill, homosexuality is outlawed. You can now be jailed for being homosexual.
And
that's what they're pushing for in the U.S.
World Congress of Families.
Exactly. I even looked up World Congress of Families, Guatemala. You know what the first 10 articles was? Speaking about this.
Really?
There you go.
The first 10 articles, when I typed in World Congress of Families, Guatemala, this bill came up.
Wow. I don't know, man. I despair sometimes, and every now and then I run into somebody doing some amazing things, and it gives me hope. I'm looking forward to being recharged. I will be attending the American Atheists Convention next month in Atlanta, Georgia, and look forward to seeing a lot of my friends there. We've booked all of our tickets. We've got our hotel. We're flying first class there and back. Ooh, because the flight was kind of full, and I just sold my other car, so I had some cash kicking around that I should probably save for a rainy day, but instead I decided, fuck it, we're going to fly first class to Atlanta. But I hope to see a bunch of our listeners and other people that I know there as well. Our friend Steve Cuno will be in Atlanta for the convention. I look forward to seeing him there. I hope to see many of our listeners there as well. It was interesting at the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. I went downstairs to go to the restroom before the show started, and I walked out of the bathroom, and 2 different people there recognized me and stopped me and said, "Hey, you're Dan Ellis, right?" "Yes, I am." And then there's that moment of hesitation, like, "Yes, I am. Do I need to fear being punched right now, or that I need to punch you, or is this a good thing?
Do you like me, or do you want to shoot me?"
Yeah. So, well, that was interesting. We're going to take another break right now, and on the other side, we have some shitting on of people to do.
Oh, we don't do that.
To steal from a very old show, props and shit list.
Yes.
Hello, this is Stu DeHaan, co-chapter head of the Satanic Temple Arizona chapter, and you're listening to the Godless Rebelution.
Hi there, Matt. Just to give you a heads up, I'm dead and in heaven. Just kidding. Heaven isn't real.
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, criticisms, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrebelution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the Twatter at TGR Podcast. Thank you!
Welcome back, everybody. I'm
all right.
Why are you the way you are, Dan?
Oh, I got dropped a lot. I had a lot of concussions when I was younger.
Lead paint.
Yeah, it led to all kinds of problems for me, I'm sure. I've had more than one concussion where I couldn't see for hours and hours and hours. Like my vision just turned into static. Like, people much younger than me may not know, but like television stations used to just turn off at night. They didn't have 24-hour broadcasts, and you would have this like testing signal for a little while, and then it would just turn into static, and it was just like this staticky picture on your television, and that's how my vision has been at least twice that I can remember from concussions in the past.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, Outer Limits was the last thing to play.
Yeah. And it's
Tales from the Crypt.
Oh yeah, Tales from the Crypt was good. What was the one? There was like Tales from the Dark Side or some shit like that. That was always fun and creepy also, and it was late at night. But one of those concussions is why I cannot stand the Brady Bunch. Like, if I hear the Brady Bunch theme, I get angry. Like, it just pisses me. I fucking hate the Brady Bunch. And it's because I had a really horrible concussion, and this was in the early 80s, and my mother called the nurse helpline or whatever after I'd had this concussion because I couldn't see and my head was swollen and I was vomiting, and they just told her to try to keep me awake. And that was the guidance at the time. And so we sat in the kitchen, and she had this little like 13-inch black and white tube television
with the handle on top.
Yep. and the 2 dials to change the channel and fine tune it if you needed to. And so she had that sitting on the kitchen table with the plastic floral print tablecloth. Thank you. It wasn't really a cloth because it was plastic. Well, there was like a felt backing
covering
on it. Yeah. Anyway, that with that TV, watching the Brady Bunch and trying to keep me awake. And so it was anytime I started to doze off at all, she'd fucking like shake me or whatever to try to keep me awake. And I just felt like I was super nauseous. I couldn't fucking see. I was throwing up, and the Brady Bunch playing in the background. It was aversion therapy while watching the Brady Bunch, and now I can't fucking stand it. I get angry when I hear the Brady Bunch theme even.
Well, if someone would have been there to keep Bob Saget awake, he could have been alive still. It is still a thing.
And that aversion therapy is also why, like, I don't like David Silverman, not one tiny little bit even. Like, fuck that guy. We were friends for several years. I had him to my house a few times. I chauffeured him around. I introduced him at mass LDS resignation event
Book
that we
signing.
held ahead. Yeah. I introduced him and brought him into Utah for a book signing when he had his book out here. We've had him on the show several times in the past. Never again, unless, he somehow manages to extract his head from his anus and turn into a decent person. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Right.
He, back in the day, I remember we talked about this recently, that he went to CPAC.
The CPAC,
several years ago. I think that was in 2015, if I'm not.
How weird that was.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And that, I kind of explained that away or justified it away as, he's trying to increase the size of our tent. He's trying to bring more atheists in. He's trying to provide an off-ramp for these wayward, right-leaning atheists who could, come to our side, leave the dark side behind, come over to the atheist side of the house, the humanist, liberal, progressive way of thinking about the world and viewing the world. You don't have to rely on religious dogmatism and libertarian thinking about every man is an island unto himself and you just need to pull yourself by your bootstraps, all that kind of bullshit, antisocial,
fuck you, I got mine.
Yeah, thinking about the world in general, and that this would be an off-ramp for them, and it was not. Apparently, that's just the way he is. Yeah, he is a right-leaning libertarian dummy who is now playing the role of victim. He's been victimized by the woke leftists who don't like the fact that he abused his position of power to take advantage of people and acted inappropriately with several different people on several different occasions and in several different circumstances.
And are you saying that he was held accountable?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, he just doesn't like being held accountable for the shitty fucking human being that he is.
Well, what do you know?
And
I heard it was just an open relationship.
No, it was not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone knows the story by now.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go too much into the past about, all of his prior misdeeds. We're here to talk about some of his more recent misdeeds and fuckery. Apparently following this year's CPAC, where the organization he is now part of, the Atheists for Liberty, which is just precious. The name itself, and several of the people attached to this fucking nonsense bullshit head up their own asses navel gazing parade. They went to CPAC, and then David Silverman, also went on InfoWars following his appearance at CPAC.
It's the track he's on.
Because it's just, he's desperate for attention. He's a narcissist, right? Like, he just thinks the world of himself, but it's also funny because he's super fucking insecure. Yeah, fuck him. I don't give a shit if anybody knows this, because he's a piece of shit. The few times I've been around him, like, he's fucking paranoid about everything, right? When he was here for his book signing,
bulletproof vest.
Yeah, he brought a bulletproof vest, and he was terrified. He's terrified that somebody in the crowd at the Salt Lake City Public Library would stand up and shoot at him, I guess, from being in the crowd, and asked me for a personal guarantee before he went on the stage that he was not going to be shot, because he wasn't sure if he was going to need his bulletproof vest or not. Wow. When I was driving him to the X96 studios few years back, several years now, I guess. He came into town for his book signing. It was on that same trip, and I was taking him to the X96 radio station studio because we were going to be on their morning show to talk to Carrie, Bill, and Gina for a little while. And on the way there, Like he got very quiet and pensive and was like rocking back and forth in the passenger seat of my car. And I turned to him and I'm like, "You okay? And, is there anything wrong?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm getting in the zone. I got to get in the zone before we go on there. I just gotta concentrate and I'm trying to focus and I'm just getting in the zone." And yeah, then while we were there in studio, he was a giant asshole, like super defensive, just a total dick. And like I found out later, they were never ever going to have him back and didn't want me to ever go back there because I was there with him.
Oh,
and like he's just totally insecure. He's paranoid. He's afraid of fucking everything. And now apparently he's a victim because he has been held accountable for some of his past misdeeds. There are some other fun stories that I could share about him that I might one day do. But there are also other people involved that I don't necessarily want to smear his taint on them again publicly. I think they had his taint smeared on them in the privacy of places. Anyway, I'm not a fan of David Silverman anymore because he's a terrible fucking human being. And he went on InfoWars to promote this Atheists for Liberty group that is just, like I say, it's precious and adorable.
If you put "for liberty" in front of anything, it is, in my mind, alt-right.
It's very fun. So Hemant Mehta wrote about this recently on the Only Sky network media that he's now part of. For those who don't know, a bunch of atheist bloggers who were previously on Patheos left Patheos because Patheos decided that they were going to tell people, "Hey, we like to have religious discussions here, but you can't say bad things about religion anymore."
So they don't want a religious discussion.
Yeah, they didn't really want religious discussion. They wanted religious trumpeting. So a bunch of atheist bloggers who were previously on the Patheos network have left, and they're all part of Only Sky now. And so it's a lot of the people that you have read things from in the past and are great content creators, such as Hemant Mehta. He published this 2 days ago on the 7th of March. It's titled "Dave Silverman Went on InfoWars to Promote His Conservative Atheist Group." And it's very fun. It starts out and it says, I wasn't expecting to see this, but in hindsight, I shouldn't have been surprised. On Friday, David Silverman, the former president of American Atheists, appeared on the propaganda network InfoWars to talk about the right-wing group he now advises, Atheists for Liberty. And there's a little 34-second clip. It's 39 seconds in total, but I've fast-forwarded through their audio intro here, just so you can hear a couple choice little bits from this.
We are welcoming in Dave Silverman of Atheists for Liberty. He is a 25-year atheist activist, TV, radio personality, victim of cancel culture.
Victim of cancel culture. David Silverman is now a victim of cancel culture.
Former woke leftist, he says, and now a libertarian. I'm so excited to have you on. I didn't get the chance to talk to you at CPAC, so I called you up, and you were all too willing to come on and have this conversation with I called myself the Jesus freak of InfoWars, and you're like, "Hey, that's fine. I'll talk to you." So very cool on that. We're just talking about unity.
They're just talking about unity.
Only if it's on our side, though.
We're talking about unity with the former woke leftist, now victim of wokest culture and cancel culture, David Silverman. I keep trying to forget that he even exists, and then people will tag me in comments places, or friends of mine will send me screen grabs of comments they've tweeted at him on Twitter, Taylor.
I still follow him on Twitter for the sole purpose of trolling him as regularly as I can.
Well, and I had initially just unfriended. So after the initial fallout from his being ousted as president, of American Atheists because of his wildly inappropriate actions with several different people, he initially tried to own up to it a little bit and take some accountability for his actions and say that, he was sorry and that he was in therapy, and it all really, really quickly slid from, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, first it was, that he was going to sue American atheists because reasons. There are tons and tons of articles online about what happened in the past, and so I don't want to dwell too much on that. But anyway, he was no longer president of American Atheists, and initially it sounded like he was trying to reform himself and become a better person. And then he found this group of internet assholes who welcomed him unto their fold because, hey, we also are assholes and we like to hang out with other assholes. Come and be an asshole with us. This will be much fun. Yeah. We are giant assholes, and you are now giant asshole as well. Come be with us. Be assholes with us. We can mush our buttholes together. So he's pretty excited about that, and has just gone off the fucking deep end now with, he loves all of the intellectual dark web dickheads and the anti-woke people and the libertarians, and it's just he
went for it.
He's garbage people now, and so like I say, I try to forget that he exists, and then it's like Godfather 3. I try to leave and they just pull me back in. They just pull me back in all the time. But I'm not surprised that he went on InfoWars, because he desperately wants attention, and he'll get it whenever and wherever he can from whoever will give it to him, which is why I try not to pay any attention to him at all, because I hope it really fucking bothers him. I hope he loses sleep at night, people won't pay attention to me as much as I want them to. So that's all I have to say about it. What do you guys have to say about that? Sorry, I went on a very long, that wasn't a little rant. That was a long rant. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all good. I'm glad you finally got that out. Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
This has been brewing.
It's been trapped inside years. And I've let little bits out here and there, but my God, fuck you, David Silverman. And
all I really have to add to that is we still have some old ads out in other shows where we're we've had David Silverman on, and if you found us through those, now this is how we really feel.
Yeah, those will be changed very shortly.
Yeah,
should have been changed 3 years ago.
Yeah, should have been changed. Yeah, quite a while ago. We have friends of the show who use prior ad drops that we had made years and years ago, and for lack of a better term, God love you for doing it. We love you all. We appreciate you, promoting our show on your show. But please don't use that anymore. I know I mentioned a long time ago that I need to have some conversations with some people, and I still do, because I haven't yet. I've just been too busy, but we do need to record a new ad drop to be used on other shows. We talked about that offline. We'll need to do that sometime here in the near future for sure. But now everybody who may have, like Taylor said, who may have arrived at our show thinking that we're fans of David Silverman or think he's a decent person, I hope we have disabused you of that notion now with this episode.
And if you came here because you thought that we were fans of Dave Silverman, I would strongly recommend that you go back and you listen to our series on Christian nationalism in particular, because a lot of the things that we talked about there are going to reflect on the kind of behavior that Dave Silverman has now, about how there's a concerted effort by people who want to see, Christian nationalism happen and just various forms of fascism happen. And they use useful idiots like Dave Silverman to accomplish those goals.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Can we end on something that's really cool?
Yes, let's do. Yes, please.
Because just like, you've had David Silverman stuck in your head and had to get it off your chest, Ernest Shackleton's ship that was stuck in the ice in 1915 has been found.
Well, I hate to say that David Silverman has been stuck in my head, and I needed to get it off my chest. Like he hasn't been living there.
Witty way to put them together.
Yeah, it was a good attempt at a segue. But I don't want him or anybody else to have the impression that he's been living in my head rent free because he hasn't. Like I've been purposely trying to not think about him because fuck that guy.
How about this? We hope David Silverman is stuck under the icy waters of the Arctic, just like Ernest Shackleton's endurance has for the last 100 and some odd years.
That works. Sure. I'll accept that.
I'll bite.
But no, if you guys don't know who Ernest Shackleton is, he was an explorer. And in 1915, he was trying to make his way to the Arctic, and their ship got stuck in the ice, and they persevered. They continued the trip in small boats and everything, made it to the Arctic, made it back, but their ship was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's been found.
What?
Like, extremely well preserved. 10,000 feet underwater.
10,000? That's deep. That's a long way.
In the Arctic. I mean, the water's deep.
Yeah.
But what I think is crazy about this is, usually when you find an old ship, you have to go through and okay, we need to find an item off the ship. We need to find like a bell or a wheel or something that's going to signify it's that ship.
Mm-hmm.
No, the name is still visibly clear on the back of the fucking ship. The entire thing is intact.
Yeah, it's
on the bottom of the ocean. So it's like the diver went down and goes, oh no, yeah, it says Endurance right there. Like
that's
in
nuts,
gold
man.
lettering, it still says Endurance with this ship sitting upright 10,000 feet below the surface of the water. Imagine this ship also sank right around the same time the Titanic did. The Titanic is basically disintegrated to nothing. Titanic sank in 1912. This sank in 1915. And it's in it almost from the photos looks like you could lift this thing out of the water and make it float again.
Oh yeah. I would guess though that as they tried to bring it up out of the murky depths, it would start to fall apart. Like
it might, but
I imagine that
we wonder. I think we talked pre-show if that cold water and the lack of maybe bacteria in that cold water has helped preserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just imagine that once they tried to bring it up from that depth, like the crushing weight of the pressure on all of that as it came up, it would just fall apart. But
if it goes up slow enough, it's actually going to have pressure relieved from it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool. I wonder, have you heard of any plans to try to bring it up or anything?
They just recently found it, so I don't know if there's any plans to try to bring it to the surface, but from the looks of it, it's 10,000 feet down. That's the fucking challenge.
Yeah.
But also it might be like, hey, we found it. Here it is. Let's just leave it.
Wow.
Yeah. Or it depends on how much money they want to put into it, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's just very cool. That was interesting news. I've seen that headline all over. It's making its rounds all across every social media platform that I've had a chance to glance at in between working and stuffs.
I mean, it's also a cool story. If you're interested in any human interest stories of what your human body is capable of doing, check out the story of his crew.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear there's a really cool documentary about it.
There's a few out there. I've watched a couple of them, but it's insane that they survived.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool. We have extended, I think, a little bit past our allotted time for the show. So we should be going. Before we do that though, I want to make sure that we thank our Patreon supporters because they keep the show going. We love you all. Thank you so very much. That would be
Two Skeptical Chaps.
A noble spirit embiggens the smallest man. A perfectly cromulent statement.
Alan Firth.
All hail, Peneth Buttra.
Darwin is coming.
Doug Willoughby.
Hunter Grin. Hey, that's my brother.
Is it just me, or are these patrons amazing?
Yeah. She's like John McCullough.
And Ollie Olson.
And Sinead Duffy.
And Steve Cuno.
Stephen Andrus.
Theodore Sellon.
Tiffany Hudson.
Vanessa.
Corey Ebert.
Don't be a Richard.
Freethinker 215.
Good news, everyone.
Jeff Peterson.
Jeremy Goodson.
Jonathan.
Marvin Dracone.
Matthew Sanders.
Megan Mitchell.
Not a fucking gymnast.
Updog Programmer.
Utah Outcasts.
Wesley Aaron.
Zeus 9SO.
Janet Uter.
Purple Dragon.
Sarah Segovia.
Savita Kuna.
Socialized healthcare saved my life.
Tim Jacobson.
Trisha Weir.
James.
And Waylon Smithers wants you to please support the Trevor Project.
Woo-hoo! Thank you all very much. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, you can do so by going to patreon.com/GodlessRebelution, where you can contribute as little as $1 per episode, and then you get extended outtakes, extended episodes, bonus episodes every now and then, fun stuff. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. This has been fun.
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit of a weight has lifted because I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we did not like and are not fans and are not friends with David Silverman. So yay.
Yeah. We like
All
Goldman
right.
better. Who's Goldman?
What?
I don't know, man. All right.
I have no idea what's going on.
I love it when I give that reaction. It's a goal in life.